The cold wind sliced through the city streets as if winter had come early that year. The sun had disappeared behind thick gray clouds, casting everything into a muted, colorless silence. People walked quickly, bundled in scarves and heavy coats, eager to get home or anywhere warm. But in a small, dim alley tucked behind a bustling diner, a boy of about 10 sat curled against a wall, his arms wrapped tightly around his knees. His name was Amir. Amir wasn't always homeless. Just a year ago, he lived in a modest apartment with his mother. She used to work at a factory and come home smelling of oil and iron. He'd wait for her at the window, and they would eat together, usually just lentils and bread, but together. Then she got sick. Hospital visits followed. Then the bills. Then the eviction. One day, she didn't wake up. After that, there was no one. Now, Amir wandered the city, scraping together coins or leftovers when he could. Most days, he went hungry. On good days, he'd find enough to buy a piece of bread or some leftover fries from a kind vendor. That same evening, across town, in a worn-down apartment complex with creaking pipes and flickering lights, lived a man named Elias. Elias was in his late 30s, with tired eyes and calloused hands. He worked as a janitor at a local school and made just enough to get by. He wasn't poor in spirit, but money was always tight. Every day, he skipped the small luxuries others enjoyed. No morning coffee, no new clothes, and meals carefully rationed to last the week. Elias had no family of his own. He lost his parents when he was young, and he grew up in the foster system. It was rough, but he made it out with a sense of deep empathy. Every night, after cleaning the school, he'd walk by the diner, sniffing the rich scent of fresh meals but never stepping inside. On that particular evening, his stomach growled louder than ever. He hadn't eaten all day. It had been a long shift, and all he wanted was something warm to eat. He had managed to save enough coins over the week for one hot meal. A burger and fries. He walked to the diner, ordered his food with a small smile, and sat by the window as he waited. As he reached for the first fry, something caught his eye. Outside, half hidden behind a dumpster, sat a boy, shivering. His clothes were torn, and his eyes were locked onto Elias through the window. Not with envy. Not even hope. Just silent observation. Elias hesitated. His stomach protested, but his heart whispered louder. He stood up, gathered his food into a takeout container, and walked out the door. He approached the boy slowly, not wanting to startle him. "Hey there," he said gently. "Are you hungry?" Amir didn't answer. He just looked up, unsure whether this was real. Elias knelt down and offered the box. "Take it. It's yours." Amir's eyes widened. He reached out slowly, as if afraid it would vanish. "Are you sure?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Elias smiled. "I'm sure. I can eat later." Amir didn't wait. He opened the box and began eating, savoring every bite like it was a feast. Elias sat beside him, despite the cold, and they spoke between bites. "What's your name?" Elias asked. "Amir." "Nice to meet you, Amir." "I'm Elias." They talked for over an hour. Amir shared bits of his life, his mother, the streets, the cold nights. Elias listened, not out of pity, but because he genuinely cared. By the end of the conversation, Amir had tears in his eyes. Not from sadness, but from feeling seen. Elias gave Amir his coat before they parted. "It's old," he said, "but it'll keep you warm." That night, Elias went home hungry, but his heart was full. The next morning, Elias returned to his usual routine. At school, he swept hallways, mopped floors, and cleaned windows. But Amir never left his thoughts. He didn't know what he could do, he didn't have money, he didn't own a home, but he couldn't pretend the boy didn't exist. The following evening, he returned to the alley, but Amir was gone. He searched nearby streets, parks, even asked a vendor or two. Nothing. Days passed, and still no sign of Amir. Weeks turned into months. One evening, as Elias was leaving the school, a man in a suit approached him in the parking lot. "Are you Elias?" the man asked. "Yes," Elias replied, cautious. "I've been looking for you," the man said. "My name is Joseph. I work with a foundation that helps street children. One of the boys we recently helped, Amir, told us about you." Elias blinked. "Amir? You found him?" Joseph nodded. "He's safe now. In a shelter. We're helping him get back into school." He wouldn't stop talking about the man who gave him his only meal and coat on a freezing night. Elias smiled, overwhelmed. Joseph continued, "We were moved by the story. And more importantly, so was someone else." He handed Elias an envelope. Inside was a letter and a job offer, an opening at the foundation for a caretaker position, offering better pay, a place to stay, and the opportunity to help children like Amir full-time. Elias was stunned. This can't be real." Joseph smiled. "It's real. Amir changed our lives with his story, and you changed his." Elias accepted the offer. He moved into the foundation's residence and began working closely with children who came from the streets, just like him, just like Amir. He wasn't rich in money, but he was rich in purpose. As for Amir, he flourished. He began studying, making friends, and showing a resilience that inspired everyone around him. And he never forgot Elias. On Elias's birthday, Amir handed him a card he'd made by hand. Inside, it said, "To the man who gave up his meal so I could eat. You didn't just feed my stomach, you fed my soul. Thank you for seeing me when the world didn't." Elias read the card with tears in his eyes. Years passed. Amir grew up and went on to become a social worker, dedicating his life to helping orphan children. He and Elias remained close, working side by side. One day, during an award ceremony for humanitarian efforts, Amir was asked to give a speech. The room was filled with dignitaries, volunteers, and children. He stood at the podium and looked out at the crowd. "I'm here today because of a stranger who gave me his only meal when I was invisible to the world. That act didn't just feed me, it saved me. And it taught me that sometimes, it only takes one person to believe in you." That one person was Elias. The crowd applauded. Cameras flashed. And Elias, sitting in the front row, wiped a tear from his cheek. But what happened next shocked everyone. A man from the audience stood up. Elderly, dressed in a sharp suit, and walked toward the stage. He introduced himself as Mr. Harrington, a philanthropist who had been silently supporting the foundation from the shadows. "I've supported many causes," Mr. Harrington said, "but today, I want to do something different." He turned to Elias. "Mr. Elias, for your compassion, selflessness, and dedication, I'm donating $1 million in your name to build a new shelter that will serve thousands of children. And we will name it the Elias Center for Hope." The room erupted in applause. Elias stood frozen, disbelief written across his face. He never wanted recognition. He just wanted to help. Amir hugged him tightly. "You gave me food that day," Amir whispered, "and now, you're feeding the future." The new shelter was built within a year. It offered education, healthcare, warm meals, and most importantly, love. Children who had been abandoned, forgotten, or broken found a second chance within those walls. Elias, now a symbol of quiet kindness, became a mentor to many. Not for his wealth or achievements, but for his unwavering heart. And as the years went by, Amir and Elias continued their work. They walked the same streets where they first met, now not looking for food or shelter, but for others who needed hope. Because sometimes, the smallest act of kindness, a skipped meal, a shared coat, a warm smile, can echo through generations and build legacies that change the world. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe.